Handcrafters, it's Claire and it is quick make time. So we're making a bookmark today. So I have some fabric. This is just a demo, so this is a scrap piece of fabric. Scissors, obviously, a ruler, some pins and clips, thread, a sewing machine, and if you're going to use a sewing machine, you're anything like me, seam ripper, and a book. Now, I probably don't need the book, but it's good to demonstrate how this project is going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little pocket, basically. So I'm going to stitch a triangle shaped piece of fabric. I'm going to stitch along the outside, and then what that will do is that will slip onto your page like so and be a bookmark. Now, if you've not seen my other video, this is going to be a prototype for my Royal Lisa Show entry, so go and check that out. It's going to be stitched, so this is just for me to see how this comes together. First thing to do then is decide on the size of your bookmark. So I'm probably going to go 5 inches. I'll square up this edge, which will end up about 3.5 inches by the time I've given it a seam allowance. Because of the way I am making the final bookmark, I am going to cut this folded edge because I'm going to sew around the whole thing. You wouldn't necessarily need to do that if you are making a bookmark from a single piece of fabric. So it is still pretty big, but I don't mind that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this excess piece into a square to create the corner. So the corner basically is going to fold, and then we sew it onto the edge that way, and that's how you create the pocket. I'll just iron this piece so I get that nice crisp seam. Now we want to put right sides together because we're going to sew around, and we want to sandwich the page holder in the middle. So one of these sides actually has a pen mark on, so there's a pen mark here. So we'll make sure that is on the inside. And this fabric is actually reversible, so I'm going to do one in either side. So we have blue leaves, white background, white leaves, blue background, which will reverse. And then I'm going to make sure to sandwich this piece in the middle. So we're basically going to turn everything inside out when it's done. So that will be the outside. That will be the outside. I'm going to try to make sure I put these actually the right way up. There is kind of an orientation on this fabric in particular. Hold everything in place and take that and sew all the way around, leaving a gap on one side or at the bottom so that you can turn it right way out. So I'll trim, well actually I'm going to turn it inside out first to check I'm happy with it in general, and then I will trim and cut the corners. So you might be thinking, Claire, that is on the wrong side. I can't hook the page on this side. But just remember, it's either side. So there we go, quick flick, and that's going to work like that. So I will trim the seam allowance and clip the corners so we can get nice crisp corners. when you top stitch this, you can top stitch along the page pocket, but what that will mean is that it will stand proud of the book a little bit. So if you leave it on top stitched, the page really does slot into the corner, but obviously if you put a top stitch in, it's going to just sit just off. There's not a right or wrong, it really just is preference, and so I think I'm just going to top stitch just on the blue and leave the red top stitched. I'm obviously making sure we've got this opening folded in and that we close that. I need to keep the stitches obviously within the boundary of the fold. So I'll just finish up these threads. There we go, one finished bookmark. One finished bookmark, one good prototype. I can have it on the front like I have here. And if you don't top stitch it, you can also go and flip it the other way, which you can still use because it also can go on the back. So this is what I'm going to do for my Royal Lisa Show bookmark on the back, because I want you to be able to see the stitching. But yeah, easy, quick project. Great little gift if you have somebody that likes to still read physical books. 15-20 minutes start to finish. If you haven't already, definitely go and check out the Royal Easter Show bookmark. Part 1 is up already, where I tell you about it and we get the stitching started. You also get some glimpses into the Australian landscape. And then part 2 will be up shortly because the project needs to be finished in 5 days. So that is what I'm going to be doing next. I'm going to be making the cross stitch into a bookmark. So go and check that out and I will see you next time for a quick make.